Okay, I want to start today with a scenario. Just, picture this. You're a first-time home buyer, you just got the keys, and you walk into your new house. What is the absolute worst-case scenario that pops into your head?
For most people, it's got to be something physical, some kind of destruction.
Right.
The sinkhole opens up under the house, or, you turn on the faucet and just black sludge comes out.
It's the Money Pit movie. We're all terrified of the Money Pit movie. We obsess over the physical house.
We do.
But the guide we're diving into today argues that we're looking in completely the wrong direction. We've got a source from the SEER team, a real estate group in the Philly suburbs, Chester, Delaware, Montgomery counties, and over into Newcastle, Delaware.
And their whole premise is pretty counterintuitive.
It is. They argue the most expensive mistakes you can make have almost nothing to do with the house itself.
That's right. The real disaster, the financial one, it usually happens way before you even find a house you like. It happens in the planning, the financing, and the search.
Which is honestly terrifying because that's all the invisible stuff.
Exactly. And that's our mission for this deep dive, to make those invisible costs visible. Because the bank, the listing agent, they're not really set up to explain the total cost of ownership to you. They're just there to get the deal done.
So our job is to shift the thinking from, buying a house to something more like making a huge financial investment.
And the guide really lays it out chronologically, which is helpful, starting with the very first step, money.
Right, the money illusion. Let's start there. Mistake number one, confusing qualification with affordability.
This is the foundational error. It's where everything starts to go wrong.
So you go to a lender, you give them your pay stubs, and they send you a letter that says, what? Congratulations, you're qualified for $600,000.
And you immediately think, great, my budget is $600,000.
But you have to stop. You have to ask, how did they even get that number?
They're calculating their risk, not your life. They're using something called a debt-to-income ratio, or DTI, to figure out the absolute maximum you can borrow before, statistics say you're going to default.
So it's not a budget, it's a breaking point.
It's a ceiling. It is not a target. The bank has no idea you have daycare costs or that you want to save for retirement. They don't care. If you borrow right up to that limit, you're basically signing up to be house poor from day one.
Okay, but even setting lifestyle aside, doesn't that qualification number at least cover the actual housing costs accurately?
Not always. And this is where the local geography from the guide is so important. The bank's calculator is generic. It doesn't know about specific local tax differences.
I saw this in the notes. For a place like Chester County, Pennsylvania, this can be just wild.
It's huge. You can have two houses, same price, let's say $500,000. One is in a township with lower taxes. The other is literally 3 miles away in a different school district with a higher tax levy.
And the difference is what?
It'd be $3,000, $4,000, even $5,000 a year.
That's not a rounding error. That's $300 or $400 a month that just vanishes.
And that's before you even add in an HOA fee, a homeowners association. In this area, that could easily be another $300, maybe $500 a month.
So if I take the bank's number and I pick the house in the high tax area with the big HOA,
you're immediately over budget. You have no margin for error. And that's before we even talk about mistake number 3 from the guide, which is maintenance, the total cost of ownership.
the unsexy stuff. Nobody's pinning new water heater to their Pinterest board.
No, but you have to budget for it. The rule of thumb in the guide is pretty clear. Plan on spending 1 to 2% of the home's value every single year, just on upkeep.
Okay, so let's run the math. A median home around here is maybe $450, so 2% of that is $9,000 a year.
Yep.
That feels really high. Is my house really going to break $9,000 worth every year?
No, not every year. You might have a couple of quiet years. But then in year 3, boom, the roof goes. That's 15 grand. Or the HVAC system dies. That's another 10. When you average it out, that 1 to 2% is actually spot on.
So if I'm maxed out on my mortgage and I haven't budgeted that extra $750 a month.
The first time something breaks, it goes on a credit card.
Yeah.
And that's how the spiral starts. It's not a bad house. It's just a normal house that you didn't budget for.
Okay, so this is actionable. If the bank's number is a trap, what's the right question to ask?
You flip the script. Don't ask, what's the max I can get? Ask your lender, what does my total monthly payment, including taxes and insurance, look like if I only borrow 85% of my max?
85%, that's the magic number.
That's your buffer. That 15% you leave on the table, that's your vacation fund. That's your retirement savings. That's your peace of mind.
I love that. 85 is the new 100. Okay, so budget is set. Now we're in the search phase. And the guide points out this difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval.
It sounds like the same thing, but in a competitive market like we have now, they are worlds apart.
Okay, so break it down.
Pre-qualification is basically a chat. You tell the lender what you make, they do some quick math, and they give you a ballpark figure. It's not verified.
It's a napkin sketch.
Exactly. And a seller is going to look at an offer with that and probably toss it. A pre-approval, on the other hand, means the lender has done the work. They've pulled your credit, verified your income, looked at bank statements. It's a real commitment to lend.
So a pre-approval is like showing up with cash. The prequel is just a wish.
Right. But there's an even bigger trap in the search phase that the guide points out. Mistake number 8, the address trap.
This one blew my mind. I read it and I was like, how is this even legal? Your mailing address might not be where you actually think you live.
It's a weird quirk of how postal zones and municipal boundaries work here. The post office draws its lines based on where the mail truck drives. The school district and the tax office draw their lines based on, legal borders.
And they don't line up.
They often don't. You could be looking at a house with a Downingtown, PA mailing address. You see it on Zillow. But that specific property might actually fall inside the Coatesville area school district.
And listing agents aren't, required to put that in the headline.
Well, think about it. Downingtown is a better marketing keyword. They're not technically lying about the postal address. But if you assume the address equals the school district, you could make a huge financial mistake.
Okay, so let's play devil's advocate. I don't have kids. Why should I care if I'm in the wrong school district?
This is mistake number 7. Thinking schools are about kids. When you're buying a home, you have to think of the school district as an asset class.
An asset class. Explain that.
In these suburban markets, the school district is probably the #1 driver of property appreciation. A home in a top-tier district might gain 4 or 5% in value a year. A nearly identical house just across the district line might only appreciate at 1 or 2%.
So over, say, 7 years? That's a massive amount of equity you're just leaving on the table.
Tens of thousands of dollars. And it's also about resale. When you go to sell, your buyer pool in the top district is huge. In the weaker district, you've just cut your potential buyers in half. You're buying an asset that's harder to get rid of.
That's a huge reframe. You're not buying a classroom, you're buying future demand for your house.
You've got it.
Okay, so we've got our budget right. We've double-checked the school district map. Now we are finally walking into a house. And the guide warns against what it calls buying the makeup.
Yes. The HGTV effect.
Yeah.
So real. First-time buyers walk in and they see the gray vinyl plank floors, the quartz countertops.
The staging furniture.
And they just fall in love. It feels move-in ready. It feels safe. But all of that is just makeup. The guide says you need to look for good bones.
What do good bones look like in this part of the country?
In this region, you're looking past the old wallpaper. You want solid construction, maybe from the 70s or 80s. Stone or brick, a good foundation. The systems, like the furnace and plumbing, are functional, even if they look dated.
So the smart financial move is actually to buy the ugly house.
Often, yes. Buy the house with the dated pink bathroom in the A+ school district, not the beautifully renovated house in the B- district.
Because you can always fix a pink bathroom.
For a few $1,000s, you can fix a bathroom. You can never, ever pick up that renovated house and move it into a better school district. Location is permanent. Cosmetics are temporary.
But the reality is, if I find that ugly house with good bones in a great district, I'm not the only one who wants it. We're in a bidding war. And that leads to mistake number 4, waiving the inspection.
This is where so many buyers get hurt. The pressure is on to waive inspections to make your offer look more attractive to the seller.
Right. The thinking is, if I don't waive it, I'll lose the house.
And it's so dangerous. The guide calls it what it is: gambling. When you waive an inspection, you're not just risking a few minor repairs, you're accepting the risk of a cracked foundation or a failed septic system.
$50,000 problems.
Exactly. So how do you compete without taking on that insane risk?
You use a strategy. You give the seller certainty.
How?
You offer a repair threshold. You write into your offer that you will conduct an inspection, but you promise not to ask for any repairs or credits for any single issue that costs less than, say, $5,000 to fix.
I see. So you're telling the seller, I'm not going to nickel and dime you over a leaky faucet.
Precisely. I'm only looking for the catastrophes. The roof, the foundation, the mold, the things that bankrupt people. And frankly, if the house has one of those problems, you want to lose that bid.
That's a powerful way to think about it. You want to lose the bid on the wrong house.
Absolutely.
Now, to navigate all of this, the thresholds, the contracts, you need an expert. And that brings us to mistake number 6, not understanding agency.
Probably the most misunderstood part of the whole process. It comes down to one term: fiduciary duty.
Sounds very legal. It is. It's a legal obligation to act in someone's best interest. So when you walk into an open house and talk to that nice agent there, who do they have a fiduciary duty to?
Themselves. I don't know, a neutral party.
No. They have a legal duty to the seller. Their job, their legal requirement, is to get the highest possible price for the person who owns the house.
So if I walk in and say, wow, I love this place, I'd pay 20,000 Rs over asking for it.
They are legally obligated to go tell the seller exactly what you just said. You just showed all your cards to the other team.
That is terrifying. Okay, so how do I get someone on my team?
You have to sign a buyer agency agreement. That document creates that fiduciary duty to you. It means your agent is now legally required to protect your secrets and negotiate the price down for you.
The guide mentioned a red flag here, though.
Yes. If an agent just pushes that form at you and says, hey, just sign this quick so we can see the house, that's a bad sign.
Why is that?
Because it's an employment contract. A good agent sits down with you first. They have a whole consultation. They explain how they work, how they get paid, and what they will do for you. It's the start of a relationship, not just a piece of paper.
Okay, so we've covered the money, the search, the house itself, and the legal side. But there's a final emotional piece here. The guide talks about the reality of losing.
This is the mindset that pulls it all together. In a tight market, you are probably going to make offers on a few houses and lose. It's normal.
And it feels awful. It feels like you're failing.
But you have to reframe what losing means. Did you lose because you refused to go $50,000 over your carefully planned budget?
Right.
That's not failure. That's market discipline. Did you lose because you refused to waive the inspection on a 90-year-old house with a spooky basement? That's financial protection.
The real mistake is getting emotional.
Exactly. The people who get hurt are the ones who get frustrated after losing a few bids, and on the fourth house, they just say, forget it, and they throw out all the rules. They overpay, they waive everything.
Out of desperation.
That's when the big mistake happens. Staying disciplined, even when you're losing, is how you eventually win the right house.
It's such a key takeaway. The whole deep dive has been about these invisible costs. And the way to beat them isn't some secret trick. It's just diligence.
Is shifting your focus from monthly payment to total cost of ownership, and from cosmetic beauty to structural and location value.
So I want to leave our listeners with one final thought to tie this all together. We have established the bank is protecting their risk, not yours. The seller's agent is protecting the seller, not you. The market itself is pushing you to be emotional. So in this huge life-altering transaction, if you don't do your homework, who is the only person in the room truly responsible for your financial safety?
It's you, armed with the right questions.
It's you. Go check those school district maps.
And the tax records.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.